TLDR, my family expects me to pay for the rent and living costs and my brother's college tuition fees, but I cannot afford it. I'm from a single parent household, a mother, a brother entering high school and 2 grandparents. I'm 17 and I'm gonna be a fresher in a UK university in 2022 fall. I currently have 2 low-paid part-time informal jobs because most higher-paid full-time jobs do not hire people under 18. My mother refuses to work because she thinks having to work to afford her lifestyle is disgracing. Our money pretty much comes from my grandparents' retirement pension and the family savings from selling my grandparents' house. We can no longer afford to live in the apartment we currently live in, and we have to move to a cheaper place. My brother and mother refuse to live at any place other than the city center. We could get a decent apartment for a much cheaper price at somewhere near his school, but he insists to live in a horrible place in the city center with everything overpriced. Whenever I try to suggest otherwise, my mother accuses me of being selfish, saying why should they give up this lifestyle, and that I'm only suggesting them this because I don't have to suffer from the inconvenience of living in a less central area. She expects me to cover the rent that they can't for at least 3 years and their living costs. More, my brother wants to go to the US in 3 years and study films, namely NYU, which is a really expensive school. My mother insists that I should pay for his tuition fees, since she used some of the family savings on my tuition fees. Semicolon. The thing is, I'm only using 1/6 of the savings, and I'm making loans for the rest of the fees. I can probably support myself right after I'm 18 by loans and working a ton, but there is no way for me to come up with enough money for the whole family. My mother convinced my grandparents and my brother that once I'm 18, I'll be able to provide for them and let them have a nice life. I really don't know how I could let them accept the fact that I cannot make that much money in only 3 years and persuade them to find other ways of supporting themselves. Oh, and BTW, I cannot fall into an argument with my mother because she tried stabbing me with a knife the last time we had a fight, and she also threatens me that she'll refuse to pay for my tuition fees if I enrage her. And if this is of any relevance, I'm from a Chinese household. NYU is incredibly expensive. So is living in New York City. Just BC, your brother wants to go there. It's not your problem to make it happen. You are 17 years old. Your own life is ahead of you. Please don't agree to do this. It's not fair to you. NYU is incredibly expensive. So is living in New York City. Just BC, your brother wants to go there. It's not your problem to make it happen. Yes, we all want some things we can't afford, so we do without. If your brother wants to go to an expensive school, then he needs to figure out how to do it on his own. Here in the USA, many people go to very low-cost community colleges to complete the basic general study parts of our college education and then transfer to a state-supported in-state university to finish their degree. Perhaps Op's brother has similar opportunities to start his education at a similar low-cost UK school, and he can work to support himself while he does so. The rent for the family home, the school fees, and your brother's education is not your debt to pay. Your parents had children, it's their responsibility. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I gotta push my mother to be more independent by refusing to provide for my brother and her. You need to move out, pay your own rent, and see how they cope when you're not there to help them financially. If they ask for money, say you don't have any. Yeah, I will move out when I go to school in UK, but I don't want to completely cut them off because I really care about my grandparents. They gave everything to this family and cannot live on their own since their daughter does not work at all. I mean, NYU with room and board for an international student is going to be in the range of $90,000. Unless you are omitting a very lucrative career from this post, your mother's demands that you pay this plus a rent plus your own tuition and expenses are going to be self-resolving in the sense that you can't. Like, you literally just can't. You don't really need to convince her of this, because this money doesn't exist. You cannot possibly earn it at part-time jobs aged 17, and no bank is going to lend it to you. So she can continue living in her dream world until the day she wants the money, and then she will *HAVE* to face the fact that it isn't happening. So don't spend too much energy on trying to figure out how to reason with an unreasonable person. What you do need to do is spend every minute working on saving for an escape plan from a household where *SOMEONE tried to stab you*. Your mother sounds extremely unstable and the only safe place is somewhere she can't physically reach you. Every bit of your energy should be going into figuring out how to live completely independently of *THE person who tried to stab you* the moment you are legally free to do so. If I didn't know people like you in the exact same situations, I'd probably think this was a joke or fiction. But I believe you, and even more, I believe your mother and brother actually do believe that you can make this happen. In my culture, we call this black tax. Very prevalent, and no amount of psychoanalysis or reasoning will ever be able to turn this primitive exploitative abusive mentality around. The only thing that you can do in this situation is to disappear from their lives. That is the only true way to focus on your studies, work, life. The alternative is to live with a woman who's quite frankly dangerous and detrimental to your mental health. Good luck. I looked into black tax and geez, I had no idea this subculture had its own name. I'm pretty sure the Chinese also have a similar subculture. I grew up thinking it's my responsibility to care for my family. But you're right, I'd have to find a way to get out of this horrible cycle. Although, I'm looking for methods a bit less aggressive. Coming from an Asian household, all I can say is don't fall for any guilt trip trick. My mom also guilt tripped me into paying for my younger brother when he grows up, and since all my education is paid for by scholarships or by my dad, the only trick she could come up with was so you refuse to pay for him because you don't love him. Utter bullshit. That's the type of crap a narcissist would say, refuse to pay cause you don't love him. Op mom sound like a narcissist with bipolar disorder. If she tried to kill him, he needs to talk to a social worker. That woman needs to be locked up in an asylum. He's literally living in hell, and him and his grandparents sound like prisoners in a death camp. I cannot fall into an argument with my mother because she tried stabbing me with a knife the last time we had a fight. Buried the lead here. It's not safe for you to live with your mother. Get out, for your safety. Keep saying yes, of course, and then the moment you turn 18 move out and cut them all off. Make sure you have your birth certificate, SSN, and other papers you think you might need. Give them no time to react. Leave a letter so they don't call the cops on you. Hide your money in your car or storage locker. You need to live elsewhere and honestly have as little contact with your mother as possible. How has no one else brought up that she tried to stab you? You need to accept that you can't argue her/them, but it seems like mostly her, into understanding reason, because she won't accept it. It's one of those important life things that you have to learn to accept that, even if you explain things to people logically, there are going to be people who do not want to hear it, and just by engaging with them, you're also kinda losing. It's time to start separating your life from them before they drown you. No subsidizing their lifestyles. Work on your schooling and your life. The last sentence is incredibly concerning. Edit. I meant the last paragraph about your mum being violent. Not you being Chinese anyway. I would move out ASAP and maybe get some professionals involved for your younger brother and maybe even your grandparents. Your mother is manipulating them out of their retirement by promising you will take care of them eventually. I'd suggest you post on a UK subreddit like r/legaladvocacy to find out what help you can get. Your mother threatens you with a knife. First of all, you need to tell an adult about your situation. Maybe someone on your school that can help you, cause this situation is not normal. You do not have to financially support your mother and brother. Your mother is the parent. She needs to get a job and provide for you, not the other way around. Edit. Also look into some kind of elder abuse protection for your grandparents. Jesus Christ, leave. I know you were raised to care for your family, but this is not good. You are literally a small child. Why are you expected to pay for your mom's refusal to provide for her children? Also, what your mother is doing is elder abuse. I'm very sorry you are going through this, and that my words sound rough, but it is what you need to do if you want to survive. Get away from them. But if that's not an option, I'd create a financial breakdown showing how much you make vs how much they want. Even if you spend all your money on them and their wants, it never will be enough. Both literally, and your mom will still expect more. You don't owe them anything. She wants to mooch off of you for the rest of her life, like she did to her own parents, and probably expected her ex-husband to. You need to break that cycle. Don't offer her, or your brother, anything once you turn 18. Take care of your own shit. If you want a relationship with your grandparents still, I bet you can talk to them. But don't spare another cent for your mother. You are 17. She is a grown *** woman. Tell her to grow up. Quite frankly, she's using you as child labor, and that is far more disgusting than her having to, heaven forbid, work to fund her lifestyle. I stress hers, because you are working and studying. You get no benefit, but she does. Tell mom that you are not responsible for her or your brother's expenses, and she needs to get off her butt and start working and cutting down on expenses. I'm really sorry you have to go through something like this. It sounds like you are under a lot of pressure, and this is not how things should be. Threatening someone with a knife is an actual crime, not to mention abusive and many other things, and it must have been shattering for you to experience someone that close do that to you. Please be safe and make sure to protect yourself. None of this is your responsibility, and you should never have to feel like you have to give something back, because as a kid you are not responsible for any choices the grown-ups make. Children are the parents' responsibility, not the opposite. I don't know what resources you have at hand, but please make sure to plan a safe route if you're getting out, like check to see if any organizations or anything that can be of support to you. Is there any emergency help you could get just to be able to get back on your feet? Are you able to hide some money in a safe place etc? Wish you the best of luck and take care. 3. Your mother is going to work you to death and actively destroy everything you've ever wanted for yourself if you let her. She's made this very clear. You will not have a future if you keep her in your life. She will do anything and everything she can to manipulate you into destroying yourself for her personal benefit. I suggest you don't let her. Why would you even consider paying for all this? It's physically impossible to support that, and if my mum told me to pay for rent and my siblings' education while refusing to get a job herself, I'd just blanket refuse. Your mother is a delusional person that is over entitled. You are not your mother's caretaker, it is your mother's lack of financial aptitude that is causing the money problem. They need to live in their means. I feel sorry for your brother, as what he needs to do is get loans for school. If he wants to learn overseas he can get a job to support himself like you do. You need to be able to get your education too and not worry about him or your mother. Listen, you have to find a way out. Keep the peace any way you can till then, but find a way out and cut them all off. Your family, for whatever reason, are being extremely in denial of their financial situation. They are unwilling to compromise and make sound financial decisions. They are too proud to work, too proud to do anything right. Then they have the audacity to guilt trip you into paying your brother's tuition when you are managing to go to school while working at the same time with 2 jobs. No matter what you say to these people, they will make your life miserable. My advice? Start to look for a place to live. Because no matter how you lay it down, they will ram you down your throat what a failure and disappointment you are for not helping your brother. Doesn't matter if you give your brother advice of other film schools that are affordable. Doesn't matter if you found a film school somewhere in Europe. Nope, not good enough for him cause it gotta be new. If he wants to go there, he needs to work his off for a scholarship. But if your family is unwilling to get a job and move somewhere affordable, don't expect him to be realistic about what is financial feasible. They are a lost cause. So, please move out. They will drag you down for being honest and make your life hell just by trying to make it in this world. Show them the math. Add up the income and expenses and show them it isn't possible. It doesn't matter what they want if that isn't the reality. I could tell people that you are going to give me $1,000 a week, but that won't make it happen. Run as fast as you can like Fiona Apple. Let them know what to expect from you right before you run. If you give too much time in between telling them and running, they might convince you not to run or guilt you into staying. But I understand the need to let them know, so just tell them right before you run, and don't look back. I don't know if you're able to really run completely and get away, or if you would even be emotionally capable of that, but it's such an unfair situation for you to be put in at such a young age. I'm a single mother of 4 kids and my oldest just turned 13. So I could very well not know what I'm talking about, but if I found out that the other parent was putting my kid in the situation when they should be focused on buckling down for their future, I would keep them away as much as is in my power. So you have to support mom who refuses to work, and little brother and his dreams of going to a certain expensive school. Why are you responsible for her when she's not responsible for her own parents or children? You're only 17. Get out. I'm sorry for your grandparents, but they created that monster and you deserve to have a life, not support all of them just because you were brought into this world. Don't share your plans with anyone, and just do it as soon as you're 18. You're still technically a child. For your mother to expect this from you is actual insanity. This is not your responsibility. Please don't pay for anything you don't want to with money that you have earned. You need to get out of this situation as soon as physically possible. Your mother has shown she is willing to inflict serious physical harm on you. LRASshifts, you are legally a child and your parent attacked you with a weapon. Go and tell your teachers this on Monday, or call Childline 0800 1111, who can help you sooner. You need and deserve help.